Okay, elementary breakfalls 101. Breakfalls is something that I think a lot of people in Jiu-Jitsu suck at because we never do takedowns. This is something I do to build breakfall skills up from the ground level. A lot of people want to start immediately in the stand and just kind of throw themselves somewhere, and that's really bad for your body. So this is a nice exercise. You can actually do this at home, and I actually recommend everyone 5-10 times a day, every day. You don't have to do it a lot, but you have to do it regularly. So the way this exercise works, you start in the knees, and the important thing is to go slow. Don't go fast. And you just try to bring your body as close to the ground as possible. And slowly roll with your body weight. And use the feeling of touch to avoid rolling over your spine. You want to roll over the meat on your back and shoulder. If your bone is touching the ground anywhere, if it starts to hurt, that's a sign that you're out of alignment and you need to correct something. So, go nice and slow. The good thing that this is so slow, you can do this even on a normal carpet or just with a blanket. And just roll through. Nice and slow, nice and easy. You do not need a lot of mats to do this. This is why it's a good thing to do at home. Again, a blanket, if you have a yoga mat, that's perfect. It doesn't need to give you a lot of cushion, just a bit of feedback so you know, oh, I'm hitting a bone, I need to roll differently, okay? And this is really something, there is no level of explanation that can replace just practicing. Do it again and again and again. Once you get good at that, you can go up a level and start in a different position. Okay, once you get fairly good at the previous exercise, you can take everything up a level and start in a bit more of a kneeling posture. You're a little bit higher off the ground, and you can get a better feeling of what it's like to fall from the stand-up. Okay, so here again, you can do this at home. A yoga mat would be perfect cushion. Starting from here, post with one arm and make yourself kind of a hole. Bring your weight to your knee and go with this arm through the hole you've made here and go down to your shoulder. And really important is as you do this, try to make sure that your head does not touch the ground. And that's going to be from now on the key to all of your breakfall practice, okay? Number one priority, don't touch the ground with your head. If your head hits the ground, you're break falling badly. Okay? So, again, showing it. From here, post, go to one knee, shoot through, go all the way through, don't let your head touch the ground. And you can go back up in a knee if you want. I'm not doing it on the video, but that's just because I would go out of shot if I did. Okay? So, and again, once you feel good, do this again 5 to 10 times a day. Just every day you can do it at home. It will take maybe 10 minutes, but it will really improve your break falls. Once you get good at that, we can go into the standing position. Okay, break falls from the standing position. Very much the same as the ones in the kneeling position. And honestly, this is the point where I would only do this if you think your break falls are really good at home. because you're starting to use a bit more velocity and you have a bit more height. And if you mess something up, you can land on one of your shoulder bones and it's gonna hurt. So if you have mats at home, you can practice this, and I mean decent mats, so some nice puzzle mats. I would not do this on a yoga mat, to be quite frank. Otherwise, I would stay with the other two exercises, doing those daily at home, and do this version as often as you can when you're at the gym, or when you have access to mats in some way, shape, or form. However, it's not that different from the original one. You stand, take a step, and again, post. You've got your nice little opening here. You take your arm, bring yourself to the mats, and make sure you do not touch the ground with your head. Again, protect your head. That's the point of breakfalls. So one more time. So take a step, bring yourself to the ground, and don't touch the ground with your head. And once we get that, we can start making this less of a roll and more of a breakfall. The difference between rolling and breakfalling is with the breakfall, you want to stop, okay? That's what we're doing next. Okay. Now this is where we're actually breakfalling. The difference between a breakfall and a roll is your landing position. You do not try to roll back up on your feet and just continue standing. You want to hit the ground, and the main thing is you want to spread the force out over as much area as you can, okay? Two things to keep in mind. You do not want this arm to be, this arm has to be less than 90 degrees. Do not put it here, and definitely don't put it here. That starts to hurt your shoulders. Always less than 90 degrees. Somewhere in this area is good. You want to have your leg falling like this, and don't just kind of straighten your toes or anything. We do something we call putting the boot on. So you look like you have a boot, and that's how you hit the leg. And also, never cross your legs. You don't want to land like this, or like this. I prefer like this just because it's a bit more support on my knee. And very important, a big problem I see people in Jiu-Jitsu all the time, never land like this. This puts a lot of stress on your elbow and your shoulder. You can break your collarbone if you get thrown very hard and you land like this, okay? Whatever you do, never land like this. Always land flat, okay? So one more. Again, doing this sideways. Try to spread everything out, and you want to stop. You don't want to roll through anymore. So. And the louder, the better. Okay, those are our 4 breakfalls. Now, backwards breakfalls, because you have to be able to fall in both directions. Okay, backwards breakfalls. These are easier and harder at the same time than the front breakfalls. Because they're easier, people tend to get a bit sloppy with them. It's the same general principle though. You want to land and spread the force out across as far wide an area as possible. When we're doing it like this, 2 things to keep in mind. First of all, just like with the forward breakfall, protect your head. Your head stays as far away from the ground as possible. And second, you want to stop. Another problem I see a lot of people doing when they try to do a backwards breakfalls is they do this, and they let their hips come up high, and then their head hits the ground. Again, you want to stop and protect your body. And just like with the front breakfall, your arms are always less than 90 degrees. Never like this, always in this area. Pretty simple. Next exercise, we can make it a little bit more fun. Again, just like with the first exercise in the forward rolls, you can do this one at home actually, though honestly I would recommend not hitting as hard. If you live in an apartment, your neighbors will be very thankful. Trust me. So, next level. Okay, this is basically the same thing as the last one. The only thing is I just do a little hop. I like to have a moment where my body's not touching the mat and I actually let myself fall on the mat. So that's the only real difference. Everything else stays the same. Starting position's the same. My landing position is the same. I try not to let my head touch the mat. I try to keep my arms less than 90 degrees. I try not to roll too far with my hips. The only additional point is instead of just rolling back, I take a little hop and let my body not touch the ground for a minute. Gives me a bit of the sense of actually falling. So it's a bit of a psychological trick. This way I'm not as worried about falling and hitting something. Pretty simple. Now, same thing in standing. Okay, last breakfall, backwards breakfall from the standing position. As you probably guessed, not that much different from the ones we were doing in the kneeling position. The only thing is you just start stand up and you let yourself go down slowly. Again, I don't recommend doing this at home unless you don't have neighbors or you have your own home. From the position, it really is nothing more than just from here, I basically go into the kneeling position and fall. All the same points apply as before. Don't hit your head on the ground, keep your arms less than 90 degrees, and don't roll over with your hips. And that's really all there is to it. It's not that complicated. The important thing with breakfalls, even if you're just doing the versions on your knees, that's great. But do them regularly. Again, it doesn't take long. Of the front and the back, do 5 or 10 a day, but do them every day. And I promise in about a month, you're going to get really, really comfortable with falling. From there, we can start working on stand-up techniques. But if you don't feel comfortable with your breakfalls, take it slow in the stand-up. And I am going to say a cardinal sin, I think, for a lot of people in Jiu-Jitsu, but if you don't feel safe in your falling techniques, feel free to pull guard. Because if you do take a great fall, especially if you have someone who's a judo in your group who's really good at throws, if you're bad at falls, he can send you flying and you'll wake up in the hospital. I've seen that happen, it's not fun. So, just word of the wise, if you're not feeling safe with breakfalls, pull guard, there's no shame. And just do that until you feel safe falling. But the main thing is don't skip fall practice. Again, do it every day. And now let's look at some stand-up techniques. Okay, next step in the series, triangles from the standing position. I do not do the typical flying triangle. I think the typical flying triangle is very dangerous, and therefore I prefer to do something I call the falling triangle. I saw this from a Gary Tonin video, and I think it's a much safer variation of the flying triangle. So the way we do this, we get an overhook and a collar tie. You have the advantage with the overhook that if you go like this, your opponent's normally going to go for the underhook anyway, which immediately gives you what you want. And move your arm away. And I like to lock my arm in my bicep that I get the collar tie, and now I've got a really strong control of his upper body. Now what I'm going to do from here is I'm going to go in a circular step and snap him down, and my goal is that he has to keep himself up with this hand. That's what I'm trying to do, and now I immediately put weight on it so that if he takes his hand away, he falls to the ground. So, weight on this hand, and I immediately step over. Now I can lose the overhook because my weight is being supported by my leg. Plant the hand on the ground, bring my leg foot first, and I let myself fall down controlled, and I'm in the triangle position. And from here, just your standard triangle finishing mechanics like we've always had. I like this version because it's a lot more controlled, and if something bad happens, you're just basically in guard. It's not like the normal flying triangle, where if something bad happens, you land on your head, probably knock yourself unconscious, and you let your opponent win the fight. If you're wondering what the beeping is, I just realized my sparring timer is still on. Sorry. So one more time. So again, so he goes for the underhook. I get my overhook, collar tie, and I lock him up here. Everything is nice and tight. Circular step and snap him down. From here, step over, plant the hand on the ground, and bring the leg foot first. Don't go knee first. You're going to knee your training partner on the face, and he doesn't like that. Lock up your triangle, and then just standard triangle finish. And that's the falling triangle. Okay, next step in the triangle series from the stand-up, we have the same start as we had in the original technique. However, he's a bit smarter and he knows what I'm doing, so he takes his arm out and starts to fray. Now I can't get in, and everything's a lot harder. So I'm going to let him have this, take my hand, grab his wrist, pull his frame out, and bury my hand here. This is kind of a Russian tie modification, and this gives me good control over his arms. From here, I'm just going to sit down, pull him in, and immediately shoot my legs up for a triangle. Not all that hard, but surprisingly enough, people fall for it a lot. So, one more time. This one's not that difficult, but really, really cool. So again, I've got my overhook. He doesn't like this, pulls his arm out, and I get my modified Russian tie. Sit down. The minute my butt hits the floor, my legs come up. If you wait too long and go on your back, you're going to land in the close guard. And triangle. Okay, the important thing with this is the timing. Like I said, your butt hits the floor, legs go up. If you wait until your back is on the floor, he's going to be too far. Let me just demo that. If I wait until my back is on the floor, exactly, he is too far, I can't get my triangle anymore. I'm in the close guard. Not bad, but not where I want to be. Which is again why I like this, because even when it goes wrong, it's not that bad. I'm in a close guard. I can work from there. I'm not trying to work on a situation where he's past me or something, or again, I've knocked myself unconscious because I did a bad flying triangle. So it's a nice, safe, standing triangle variation that even when it goes wrong, not that bad. Next one is when I don't feel safe doing either one of those. Okay, last thing we're gonna do in this video is, again, it's a situation basically where I don't feel safe falling into the triangle for some reason. Maybe I've noticed my opponent's really good at passing and opening close guard, so I don't want to take the chance with either one of those. Or maybe I would just prefer to work from a top position from the very beginning and I don't want to work from guard. Either way, this is a good option and it gets the fight to the ground very easy. It's just a standard Sumi-Gaeshi. Same situation. We start off here. I try to bring his hand to the ground. He removes and gets a frame. Same entry as last time, but now I let this arm go and I go to his armpit or his lat. I push this arm in and get a hook with this leg. Don't stand up, don't stand up. So that, no, don't stand up. And I get a hook with this leg into his hips. From here, with this foot, I try to jump between his legs, and important is you want his weight on you when you do this. And that's a standard Sumi-Gaeshi. One more time, and by the way, just extra points, it looks really cool when you do this. So, okay, so back, I take it in, go to the lat, hook in, jump in, and take them over. From here, you can go to your side control, you can take a back mount, you can do all sorts of stuff. So, first three options when you're in the triangle situation in the standing position. Next video, we're going to go on in this and do some more options for the triangle and stand-up positions in general. So, see you then.